this constantly. It drives me nuts, so I leave mine on silent. So like, usually if you call me, I'll miss it, but I'll call right back. Oh, you have Rob's phone number? I would like to get that from you because I'm gonna give him a tour of my neighborhood because it can be confusing and there's a ton of houses being built in my neighborhood.
Hi, how are you?
You got it. Oh. Thank you. I'm gonna take him down to my neighborhood and show him how to navigate it.
It can be confusing.
Well, that cell tower is still, that cell tower is still not activated down there yet. That new one, oh, because of the storm, because they hadn't got power to it yet. And so they got delayed. Of course, all the line crews were out doing more important things. Okay, got it. Huh? Bar. I'll get on later. But about, I'd like to wreak a little havoc on some of your competition.
Testing, one, two, one, check it. Testing, testing.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Commissioners, please rise. Their pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we pray, O Lord God, we come before you in prayer, acknowledging the blessings of government and administration. You are a God of order and have blessed us with the establishment of governing officials to provide civil harmony and concord. Be with us in this meeting. Give us strength, wisdom to pursue goals which please you. Grant us the courage to support those things which are right and according to your ordinances. For we ask it in Christ's name. Amen. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Delaney,
Here.
Presque,
Here.
Hughes,
Here.
Libby,
Here.
Trump.
Here.
Record be noted. Approval of the agenda. Any additions to the agenda, resolutions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Got motion and support to approve the agenda. Is that all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Conflict disclosures. Anybody have any conflicts? Anything on the agenda? Hearing none. We'll move on to the minutes of May 8th meeting. Give me a chance to read it.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 8th 2025 meeting as presented.
Second. By Commissioner Liddy, second Commissioner Turk. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. That brings us to Valerie. Treasurer's report.
All right, good morning, everybody. So we're gonna do the report for April 2025. The taxes collected and spread in April were zero. Year-to-date total, $4,785,965.85. The DNR taxes collected in April were also zero. Year-to-date, $31,083.10. Total general fund revenue for April was $161,238.44, with a year-to-date of $6,460,740.98. The total general fund expenditures for April were $554,316.74, with a year-to-date of $5,601,752.79. The change in fund equity for the general fund was $858,996.19, with a balance in the checking of $1,223,289.96. The revenues were normal. Expenses were also normal. They included wages, insurance, pension, and routine monthly expenses. As far as the treasurer's office, we finished the rest of the adjustments to the 2024 and prior year tax rolls, paid out the 2024 levies with the bond proceeds. Checks were issued and mailed to the schools, townships, villages, fire and ambulance authorities, and all of their tax levies. So all the 2024 levies are paid in full. Nearly 3,000 delinquent tax statements were mailed out the first week of May. That resulted in a very busy month of phone calls and collections. The first round of statements always uncover any errors that may have been made at the township level, and we find that sometimes checks were not received. People mailed stuff, checks were not received. We've taken care of most of those issues that were discovered, and we're still working on a few. We've issued over 800 tax receipts in the month of May, totaling $340,000 in delinquent payments so far. The Presque County Land Bank Authority did meet this week, and we have tentatively awarded a bid for the roofing of the former Granville Center, pending a signed contract and a few other details with the contractor. This is the first project in the round 3 of the blight elimination grant, and this is a federal grant. The two other projects are the Onaway Museum, which is the former Lobdell building, and the former Super Service building. And we're getting close to releasing the RFPs for bids. All projects have to be completed and submitted for reimbursement by September of 2026. And the total amount of the grant for all of these projects is $500,000. So, does anyone have any questions?
What share of that was for the Grams? Bid.
For the Granville, $120,000. The bid that was approved came in at $220,000. So the owner is putting, in the rest of it. And the bids ranged from, that wasn't the low bid, but it was the best bid as far as warranty on product and workmanship. And there was a point system given to all the bidders, and it was, that was by far, the one we chose was by far the highest scoring of the bids. The bids ranged from a low of 205 to a high of like 460. So yeah, there were some that were just way out of range, so.
Who's the contractor? Don't know.
They're out of Reese, Michigan.
Reese, Michigan.
Yeah. Bouchard. It's a roofing company, because it's,
Sounds right.
okay. I probably am not pronouncing it right, but
And was there a lot of errors at the township level? Did you find
there, I wouldn't say a lot, but
normal amount?
a normal amount. There's always some that, for whatever reason, there'll be a couple that the checks will have cleared, but they didn't get credit. And so then the people bring in their copy of their check and then
All right.
we adjust things and, we're still tracking down. There's still, well, I'm still working with the township on a couple issues, with one township, but other than that, everything got taken care of.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Val, I noticed that, say, nearly 3,000 delinquent tax statements were mailed out. Carla Wagner is a realtor for Grand Rapids. She appeared before our Republican meeting at the last meeting, and she's working on what's called Axe My Tax. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's a
Yes.
movement to try to get rid of property taxes in the state of Michigan. And
It would devastate, it would devastate local government.
that's what the people are saying, but her concern is 3,000, okay. Typically, in Presque County, each year, how many people forfeit their property because they can't pay the property tax? Do you have any idea on
Oh,
average?
You mean how many foreclosed? Like
Yeah,
this
they just
year?
lose their property on average in Presque County each year. 400, 500?
No, 50.
Okay.
And most of them are, like this year, there was 47, I think out of the 53, there were 47 lots in the Presque Harbor Association.
Okay,
So those are just empty lots. There was one building in the city of Onaway. It was a garage on a parcel. And then the other two were just also lots, but in a different subdivision.
so there's not like 500 parcels being
No.
lost a year. But on average, it is 5% in Michigan per year that folks are losing their property. So I wanted to see if in Presque County, if that was holding up.
No,
Not even close to 5%. you
No.
say.
no, because I think we have over 22,000 parcels.
Thank you, Val.
Any other questions for the help? Is there a motion to receive and file the treasurer's report?
I'll move, Mr. Chairman.
Support. Motion with Mr. Presque, support by Mr. Kirk. All in favor, signify by saying that. Roll
Aye.
call. Roll call.
Roll call.
Sorry, roll call.
Tolini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Moving on, citizens preparing before the board.
Time.
Morning. My name is Tricia Strappa, and I am a resident of Ryder City. On Wednesday, I had the pleasure of attending the Lafayette Outdoor Center meeting. And I am here to say that I was shocked that this committee is considering giving the center, which is an old former CCC camp, historical building on the National Registry, and you're willing to take into consideration that you may let this go back to the DNR. First of all, there are 4 new members on this board this year. Commissioner Tolini has got 2 years on it. I would like to know how many of you have actually got his history of that camp, what the Friends of Lafayette have done for that camp. And if it wasn't for the Friends of Lafayette bringing certain situations up to the board to keep that building and everything in good shape, because it is in good shape. This is a camp. This is not a hotel. This is a camp for children, a camp for weddings, a camp for reunions. And you know what? There has been so much blood, sweat, and tears put into that building by the Friends of Lafayette that you should be proud of it. You shouldn't be willing to give it back because that property is probably worth a heck of a lot of money. Each and every one of you commissioners should go out there and see the improvements that have been done. Most of it that's been done by the Friends of Lafayette is through grants that we've been able to do. If you give this back to the DNR grant that we just got, you'll probably never get another one. So I wish that you would take into consideration all the stuff that has been done. And I'm very emotional about this. I was president of the Lafayette Outdoor Center for a couple of years. But the people that are on that board are all professional people. People who have years and years of time spent out there with their families that have done work. And it's not just the volunteers that we have, but you know what? Every one of those board members have put blood, sweat, and tears into that building. and they're very proud of it. We want to keep it that way. So if you commissioners could go out there, have one of your meetings that you have, so it's still a commissioners meeting. Go out there and see the improvements that have been done, and we can give you a list of all the improvements that the Friends of Akiak have given. Another thing, when we were in that meeting, luckily, Commissioner Presque was there, but he was put in an awkward situation. He had no idea of what Friends of Akiak were doing, what the buildings are out there look like, nothing. And he was put in that situation because Mr. Libby had mentioned about having that building or the property go back to the DNR. He was put in a very bad situation. It was a real learning experience for him, but it should be a learning experience for every one of you board members. He was lucky enough to be one of the children that attended the Akiak Outdoor Center. He has memories there. All of these people that are on the board, basically all of them, have memories of being out there and what the value is of that property. Please take it under consideration, and I would like to see all of you out there at one of your other, after the regular business meeting, go out there and have the rest of your meeting out there and look at all the improvements that have been made. You should be thankful that you have Friends of Akiak to be there, and you should be thankful that you have that property to give to the citizens of this community and other people from other areas that come in just to have their meetings and their camps out there. Thank you, and please take it under consideration.
Just for the record, this board never discussed financial
The
bad.
board has never, but it has been brought up and it has gone back to the Friends of Akiak.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't see you back there. I see your hand waving.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Mary Bluthwell. I'm a baccalaureate prepared in a Desert Storm veteran. I've recently received extensive treatment for post-traumatic stress from military sexual trauma at the Battle Creek VA Medical Center. And my therapist on a regular basis says, "What are you going to do for fun?" And my reply was, "I'm going to camp." And I have connections with the directors of Camp Chickagami in Presque. And therefore I was invited to help with cleaning up the ice storm damage. And I'm going to be in Presque, actually living at Camp Chick until November. And I consider it every citizen's duty to be involved in local government. Therefore, I'm here, so I wanted to introduce myself. And I want to thank all you commission members and other public servants for your service to our community. I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far in y'all. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir.
Morning, everybody. I'm
Morning.
Brian Kuznetsky. Speaking on behalf of my parents, Don and Sally. I don't live in Bartholomew or in this county. I live in Indiana, but I was born here. My parents live off of US 23, right along the Swan River. And after the ice storm, they had significant damage from the trees. Last night, I counted upwards of 50 trees in Swan River between US 23 bridge and maybe an 1/8 mile upstream. For those that know that area, it's right across the street from the plastic plant, right across US 23. The river runs from west to east. So from where these trees are, those trees are going to be flowing downstream and into the US 23 bridge. It's going to cause a damage to the bridge, likely damage to other property in the area. Not exactly sure what we're looking for, but definitely I think there's somebody on the agenda today that's going to talk about maybe the federal grants and sponsorship from the community and from you guys as commissioners. So ultimately just looking for guidance and sponsorship from you guys as a commissioner to figure out how we get some federal grant money to help clean up the damage to the water.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for me?
I have pictures, I have video. You guys are welcome to come out and walk the property if you want to take a look.
I'm suggesting,
It looks pretty bad.
these trees then would eventually cause water to build up and be a hazard for the bridge itself.
I believe so.
Yeah. Mhm. All the rivers do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning. I'm Jane Kroll from Manatee Beach, Rogers Township. Several of us came before this board last August, so it really wasn't this board, it was Cliff and a few other people. We have some concerns in our little neighborhood, and I'm only speaking from my personal experience, although I believe this is a countywide issue. On short-term rental, seems to be there's no rule, no regulation. And they keep increasing, and it's not just an issue in our little area. I think statewide, there's lots of issues around that. There was quite a conversation around the previous board. Different commissioners talked about issues that their townships are experiencing. Anyway, the long and short is this group referred the issue to the planning commission. Last August 30th actually was the meeting date. And we've not heard anything in terms of any progress. I did see in your January minutes that the commission approved a $50,000 grant. The planning commission could apply for that $50,000 grant. I don't know where that went. I don't know if there's been any additional discussion.
That was filed, it wasn't in a timely manner and we missed it by about 2 weeks,
Really?
the 50,000.
Is
But
there,
we did discuss at the planning commission, the short-term rentals. The biggest question was to implement that restriction into the ordinance. The people that have been doing it prior to that would be grandfathered in. And they wanted to refer it back to the county board of commissioners to see if they wanted a county ordinance. To develop a county ordinance.
right, okay. Yeah, we wondered, there were 4 of us here at the last meeting. We wondered if anything did transpire, if we didn't get the grant. Is there a next step plan, or is it just going off the la land, or is there a plan to move forward with it? This is something we ought to be following up on. We're concerned, at least those of us on the lake, we have, in my little neighborhood, there are 5 rentals just on my street. A couple of them are now no big deal. They're just little cabins and not a lot, but there are several rentals that are 3-bedroom that advertise on VRBO. They sleep up to a dozen or more people. You know, those 3-bedroom units aren't set up for that. I don't know about septic. We don't know about well. They're really businesses. 2 of them are owned by somebody in California, so I assure you he's not coming for the weekend. One of them's owned by somebody in Alaska. I don't know who owns the other 2. Anyway, there are just lots of issues, and it's better to be proactive than reactive. So I hope that you'll consider at least some community conversation and see where this might go. Presque
Unfortunately,
Township has an ordinance, that I think is excellent, and it works for their township. I'm not saying that's
it's a township
right.
ordinance.
I'm not saying that's the thing for the county, but they have looked at it and they've developed an ordinance. And my understanding is that the township or the planning commission years ago did look at that issue and did come up with a plan. And then for unknown reasons, it never made it to the commissioners. So there is some background and some work that has already been done.
It's
But I
unfortunate.
guess I just want an update. Are we doing something or aren't we?
It's unfortunate that the planning commission, when they wrote the ordinance, didn't look into it, because our township in Alice they looked into the short term and they implemented in the ordinance.
Oh,
The problem with the grandfather is the people that have been doing it, which there's a lot of them,
oh, yeah.
would be grandfathered in. We're gonna have to look at a sample ordinance and talk with our council and see what we can come up with. This board wants to have an ordinance regulating this,
Yeah.
because that's the only way you're gonna include everybody.
Right, and
Like the
there are,
township did.
there are people that have been doing that for a long time, but I think if you talk to a realtor, you'll find that a lot of the sales are going to people that are doing this. They're finding a great deal here.
Well, it's not so bad if the people are here. You know, like our relatives.
Right.
that own it.
Well,
It's
there
the
is
people
that.
that are not here and they're just.
There,
They're
yeah,
already
that
going in,
gets to be a big thing, and those of us in the neighborhood don't know who they are, or how to get a hold of them when there are problems. And, you know, the other thing is locally, if they're rentals, then there's no housing for local people can't buy housing. I know there are several instances here where people wanted to come and work and couldn't find a rental. So I mean, it's not
Or the
just,
few.
it's not just the
Okay.
environmental impact. There's a whole realm of things involved in quality of life here, and
We're gonna
Anyway.
discuss that.
And given that you felt that the Presque Township has addressed this with a suitable ordinance, Alice Township apparently has, have you approached the Rogers Township Board?
oh yeah, that was our first step.
And what did you learn there?
What they told us was that the Rogers Township Board doesn't have, number one, the money to do that, or the ability to enforce anything. They
Develop a
they
ordinance.
pretty much default to whatever the county policy is. They're not in a
That's why you're
position to
here with
go.
us now.
And it doesn't make sense to me, I guess maybe because I'm organized and I do things
Well,
one
that-
step at a time. It doesn't make sense to me for all of our townships to do their own thing.
that-
When there could be some umbrella thing and then maybe townships tweak it a little bit. I don't know.
I can understand that. As far as a planning commission with zoning authority. That they can't afford it, but the township could surely make a township ordinance.
Well, that was my thought too, but it didn't go that far.
All right.
Questions? I think there are a lot of us that are willing
Probably
to
just
help,
came-
you know, to have conversation or to do, if this board wants to move forward or the planning commission wants input, there are a lot of us that are willing to volunteer time to do that. But I don't want to let it drop. I really think it needs to be addressed at some level.
Put it on our agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's a problem in my township too. It's really bad.
Oh, yeah, yeah. and I've
But
heard-
my supervisor told me though that there's some legislation being held up in Lansing in regards to this, which might override anything you might do at the township level anyway. I don't know,
Well, you can't wait.
but
for
I'd like to
Lansing.
push it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to be proactive. You can wait
You
for
have to
Lansing
council
until
research
sun don't
that.
shine.
Yeah.
Never council
I think
research.
it is, and I know out here on beach, there's big issues, especially a lot of those cottages that are rented out are old. I know there's one on our road that I don't think has a septic. I think it has a 55-gallon drum. I don't know. This board is the one that the buck stops, I guess, in my book. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
We'll have to put that on the future. agenda here.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Guess that's it. Public comment. Unfinished business.
Anybody else? Did you ask for anybody else? for public
Yeah.
comment? Okay.
Anybody else want to speak?
Guess not.
Guess not. Unfinished business. We can't hear up here. Any unfinished business?
Nope.
On the new business, radio upgrades. Renee Shemansky. Mr. Lee.
Have some paperwork to you guys. Over. There's a lot here, I know.
I gave mine away.
There.
Oh, you gave yours away?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I lucked out.
I got.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Right, honorable commissioners. Roberta, good morning.
Morning.
Attached for review are documents outlining the costs for upgrading and maintaining public safety radio communications with Presque County Sheriff's Office. You may know, the Sheriff's Office is the primary public safety answering point for all of Presque County. All 911 calls for law enforcement, fire, emergency medical services are dispatched from our facility and by members of our department, serving some 659 square miles of land, 1,900 square miles of Lake Huron, 72 miles of Great Lake shoreline, and most importantly, around 13,000 permanent residents and many more guests. kind of jumping through the initial welcome letter to the more important points. It speaks about encryption and the upcoming encryption mandate for radio communications, centering around personally identifiable information and criminal justice information that is protected by law. The FBI Office of Criminal Justice Information Systems that runs the National Crime Information Center is mandating that anytime personal identifiers like that are transmitted, whether it be over the air, by radio, or by computer, or basically anytime it leaves the building on digital media, it has to be encrypted to a certain industry standard, which is FIPS 140-2, to the advanced encryption standard at 256 bits is what we would be using. So again, this includes radio communications. The plan is to encrypt 3 channels. One, all 3 exist already. One is 71 lean. The other is 71 fish, which is our private department talk around. The other one is 71 RCPD, which is the Rogers City Police talk around. And the primary dispatch channel for interoperability with fire departments surrounding counties, because we're kind of all on a different schedule with this, is going to remain in the clear, which means unencrypted. So when we run a driver's license, a file, request criminal history information, we'll jump to 71 lean, be able to relay that over the air on a secure channel in real time, get it back, and we'll put back over to our regular dispatch channel. Encrypting the 2 proprietary channels gives us the ability to have secure communications between departments, between officers, in the event that we have to deal with a situation where officer safety is critical in real time. It always is, but if it to give us a further tactical advantage if we're going into a house or dealing with a situation where somebody has the ability. I'm sure we all seen the straight area scanner page. Probably all seen scanner apps on our phones. There's some things that we do and are put out there that aren't suitable to be digested in real time for everybody to know right away. But as
You
far
guys, stop here for a second. If you don't understand what he's meaning, basically, I'm gonna dummy it down
Mhm.
for those of us that aren't techie like James is.
Sorry, I rabbit hole.
We're gonna scramble it.
Mhm.
So every bit of the radio transmissions that are going out there, this means they're scrambling it. Nobody out there in scanner land is capable of hearing our transmissions. End of story.
Every transmission.
Yes, all of these transmissions will be encrypted, meaning that people out there in scanner land, they're not capable of picking up our radio transmissions.
I'll asterisk that it's going to relate to personally identifiable information and then things that are operationally sensitive. Our primary dispatch channel is going to remain in the clear. Frankly, because like I said, the fire department command staff have our primary dispatch channel to interface with us. And surrounding counties are all on a different schedule. This is an unfunded mandate, but we will be subject to sanction by the state police, who runs the law enforcement information network, who reports to the FBI that's mandating this. And ultimate non-compliance with this could result and will eventually result in us losing our ability to access that information directly in real time. So that's detrimental to the job of a police officer. Again, it's all, it's spelled out in the letter here pretty well, but cutting to the chase, the total cost of this project as presented for the software required encryption upgrades, for the mobile radios, the consoles, the consolettes, which are backup radios in dispatch, and the purchase of 3 new portables, this type of radio, the handheld ones, and the upgrade of 10 of our existing portables that are upgradable, amounts to $86,071.73. If we were to replace all of our portables, as Motorola and vendors would
Love
love
us to do.
us to do, and for all intents and purposes, as far as they're concerned, are obsolete. We found a reputable third-party vendor through UP 911. They've dealt with them before. They've made upgrades to theirs using the same company and had success between the state and them without any other issues. But to do that, it would cost us $142,000 $114,605.03 to completely future-proof our equipment. This plan has saved us a total cost of $56,533.30 and has bought us time, if approved, to develop a replacement plan that Renee and I are working on. A couple a year, couple portable, maybe a mobile every other year, which mobile's the in-car radios. If we do this, we don't have to be stuck dropping $50, $80, $100,000 all at one time and buying what we can when we can afford it and when we need it. And oh crap, now we're up against this wall and we gotta dump all this money. So like, again, it's all spelled out, all the details of the pricing, the state requirements, the requirements from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Michigan State Police are all in the packets here for your review and evaluation. And again, we have saved $56,533.30 with this plan over what it could have been. And adopting a progressive replacement plan will be critical to both furthering our infrastructure and capabilities and being fiscally responsible.
And I know you guys are probably like your jaws are dropping because it's a huge amount of money and I understand that. And those of you that have worked with me in the past know that I'm not one that spends money if I can avoid it. If it's a fan or an air conditioner, I'm gonna choose a $20 fan. This is something that, number one, we don't have a choice in. Number two, when our radios were actually purchased, I actually went back and I looked back in 2016. So the undersheriff and I went back and actually looked at when these radios were, the big project was started. And it was when 911 was, all of the new items were brought into dispatch. So the county then, the clerk had choose a 10-year plan of getting the consulate, my dispatch radios, the radios, which some of my officers are still utilizing out on the field. Chose a 10-year plan in which when you guys are paying the bills, you're paying each year $129,000 because she chose that lease plan. That's what the board chose, I should say. We still have 2 years left on that to pay. And I'm sure you see.
2027.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys see that coming in. So we're still using those radios, and in order for us to be able to use those radios, which Motorola would like to say, we really don't want you to, we want you to buy new radios. We have the means of going ahead and still being able to utilize and get those radios functional today without spending another $107,000.
And
I heard the $86,000 quote here, but this be something to be spread out over time, or you want a lump sum,
It is a
86,000?
lump.
Where's the mandate?
This calendar year.
Quickly. But there are some funds out there, and I have talked to the treasurer, there are close to $20,000 that can be utilized just for law enforcement today.
Where's the mandate coming from? Is this is this law or is it the Michigan State Police, the regulating authority?
the regulating authority is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, United States Department of Justice, and then their services are relayed to us via MSP. And it comes down from there.
So that's where the mandate comes from.
Correct,
There's no funding for it.
correct, unfunded mandate.
So it's not the legislature implementing this.
Not at the moment, no.
Unfortunately, I can stand up here all day and preach it, but how do you put a price tag on communications and safety of the community and law enforcement? I can't preach it.
And
If you're gonna spend money, I don't know where better you can spend it, but
And-
communications and safety.
these are, I mean, they're a literal lifeline, and might I add, aside from the 911 phones momentarily, this radio system was the only thing that worked consistently, reliably every single time during the last disaster. Some of the radios that our officers are using to date, if you go to this page, with all the colors, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 5 deputies, 3 actively on the road right now, 2 one's assigned to the drug team and 1 part-time, that are using radios that are that were manufactured anywhere from 2006 to 2014. Those are truly unsupportable, no longer meet technologically required standards, and the three that are working the road are the ones that we were asking for immediate replacement in addition to software upgrades. We get lots of mileage out of these. They hold up, but eventually system and technology evolves. And then whether we like it or not, we are forced and pushed to evolve with it. So being as it is, a couple of those radios weren't even encryption capable in the first place. So even if they were able to be upgraded, we further can't be because they, by nature, how they're manufactured doesn't have it.
How many of them are there that can't be?
We have there are 5 total that are in use that can't be, period. And then a further cache, a few more of spare ones that are in the same boat. And then adopting a progressive replacement plan like this. And if we do the upgrades to our existing portables for $10,000 as opposed to an additional $80,000 or $79,000, which is what 13 new portables would cost, we can get a couple new portables at a time and have a sizable cache for the first time of fully compatible, all the same backup radios. Should one need to go up for service? Should one break? Should we have a disaster where, hey, we need communication, we need them right now? These are all things that play into the need and the request and for this project today. Already has significant cost savings.
This is May 30th today. The unfunded mandate insists that you have this new stuff by when?
The mandate where we can get sanctioned is October 1st, 2026.
That's my question.
Yes.
So you need to have that funding by no later than that.
Well, I'll asterisk that one more time. So the other thing that makes this an issue now is that our mobile radios and our consolettes in particular, the backup radios, the car radios, we are right up against a wall. June 30th for the consolettes, which again, backup dispatch radios, and September 30th of this year, both of this year, where those radios will no longer be supported by Motorola as well.
That was my question, to see
Yeah.
when you guys are up
3
against.
different dates.
And June 30th and September 1st, I'm hearing. So you need to have those things replaced by then. And you're looking at
Right.
86,000 by then, by no later than September 1st.
No later than June 30th for the consolettes,
Right.
to get those in under the wire.
Which is
And then
a
another-
dispatch.
How long have we
That's
known?
one day.
Mhm.
How long
It
have
all
we
kind of
known?
goes together.
And-
How long have we known about this encryption?
Only since
They
March-ish
threw it in March. God.
is when it really came into play for us.
But this conversation has been going on for the last year, about when the schools were starting to come
When we
online.
talked to you, I think a little bit at that one meeting, like when we said we're gonna be coming to you at some point with radio
Yeah,
issues,
that was last year.
time lapse.
Yeah, and this, at the statewide interoperability conference in Muskegon in February. This February or March, this is when they got an official hardline date and said, okay, by October 1st, you guys need to have this encryption taken care of, or you're gonna get sanctioned in your linking beginning. So
See,
it's
our
not just
radios
us.
weren't even capable of such.
They sanction you, then what do they do?
You get sanctioned,
You get sanctioned,
fix it, or
and if you fail to comply with the sanctions and the directive to fix it, they will revoke your access to
To the channel.
not to criminal justice information. We would have to telephone, tell a friend, tell no one, maybe get on the radio, maybe not. Fax the state police dispatch in Gaylord to be able to run all of our stuff. And that's the consequence. You would lose the real-time access to that information.
What does the 911 millage generate per year?
I don't get those numbers. Those go through the treasurer's office. I don't ever see the numbers, so.
There's not a 911.
There was at one time.
Surcharge.
The surcharge.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Wrong term,
Yeah.
wrong terminology.
Well,
We look at the numbers at the end of the year and punch them in the system, but I don't sit down and look at them.
Yeah, I didn't bring it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I
Yeah.
felt like I put you on the spot. That was not intentional.
Well, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
you've been a
thank you.
board member 2 years. This is your third year. Have you ever experienced something like this, right out of the blue, all at once the county needs to come up with $86,000 within a month's time?
So,
It happens all the time. How have you handled it in the past? What would be our next
Not very
logical
well.
step? Not very well, but we gotta deal with it, don't we?
I don't wonder if there's any, I want to talk to legislature, I wonder if there's any funding from the state, for this too. You know, you could reimburse yours. I doubt it.
There's none, there are none that I've been made aware of from
No.
everything that I've done and, you know, entire year doing this, communicating with folks from the state, the people that manage the state radio system. It's
So we
a
have
funded mandate.
2 more years on the plan from the original radios, then. And then we got. This. Proposal, which would have to be extended out, obviously, probably a couple of years. I guess we'll have to look at the budget and see.
This makes you feel any better. We're way farther ahead than many other counties that I've talked to, so. Radio wise.
I'd be happier if it was lining up with the end of our 10-year contract, of course.
We would too. But
And might I add, this is my, you know, talking with different vendors and stuff. When it comes to our consoles, pretty much just in time for our plan to expire.
end of life on that
Those will
probably.
be end of life around 2030. So, or end of support, I should say. Just in time to, oh, guess what? We gotta pick you back up and you gotta get another loan to upgrade all your infrastructure or, you know, this next, like, it's kind of a revolving door and
Everything.
trimming.
That's what,
And again, about pushing $57,000 in savings. Is what we were able to come up with to trim this down as best we can. And be able to adopt a plan going forward. That's software for everything.
The whole thing started all your radios, 142,000. And we'll have to bring this up at finance and see what we can do. Which is more feasible. Gotta do something though. Can't be cut out of your information network.
No.
The invoice to be able to get the upgrades, the invoice is basically the order has to be placed by June 30th and September.
September 30th.
Yep. That is the last day and they will not honor anything more. Which is,
the next
as we know,
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday before the.
So June.
So,
We got basically, we got all of June.
Is this 86,000, like so much of it by June 30th, the rest of it by September 1st? Is that what I'm understanding?
yeah,
it's separated.
So how much do you need by June 30th?
by June 30th, we would need. It's on the front page.
86.
Consolettes. Is. Could we do $45,052.07?
Right, you got 30 days to get that hurdle accomplished, and then the rest of to the 86, 45 to 86 by September 1st.
Right.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, September 1st would work because the deadline's 30th. Get those, to get the mobiles upgraded.
You say the.
Or actually, I should,
No, it's.
You got June 30th and then September 1st are the 2 dates I'm hearing. Is that correct?
June 30th and September.
You
30th.
and I are gonna have
Oh,
a budget
September
meeting
30th.
Yep,
next
We
week.
got a little more wiggle room.
We'll talk
Yep.
about it there. Take a look at.
So-
45 within the next 30 days.
yeah, and actually the 45,000 would take care of the mobiles, the consolettes. And the two remaining, the two compatible portables of the same series. And the three that are existing like mine. And then it would be a further $11,780 to do the main consoles in the dispatch center. To break it down by class,
86,000 to do it all.
to do it all right now.
And do you have any money in your line item at all?
I
Budget?
don't know what the budget would be, well, obviously it'd be under the new budget anyway.
Yeah.
But the first
It's
part,
not- We'll look at it.
Yeah, I don't have what's actually left in their current.
because if you had 45 in your ending balance of unspent budget money, that would cover that, because it'll have to go out before June 30,
Right.
which would be this fiscal year.
Yeah, I guess Derek or,
Yeah, and then budget in the 41 for next year. That would get us
Split it
there.
out,
You split it out.
put it in the next budget.
Yeah, June, finish this year, because I remember when we had our discussion, you had some left in your budget in certain areas.
yeah,
So it'd be a few amendments, and then you said there's 25,000 and
19.
Worst case.
19, I'm sorry.
Worst case, you could do the 45, like you said,
That's right, Mr. Chairman, you gotta get that in 30 days.
do the 45 and then roll next time.
Then you got 90 days for the next,
Would be in the next
Next
budget,
budget
the
year.
October. All
Because
right,
we could take the dispatch side of it, the consulates at least.
Let's work on the funds and you guys,
Pay for that.
and we'll give you a holler when we jump into this a little deeper.
that's for your report.
thanks for the
Thank
warning.
you for your time.
And, yeah, and it,
We wish we had more, but
if I could
It's not your
just
fault.
get a second longer to help you, to help maybe understand the processing a little more. For all the required software upgrades and everything existing, the grand sum total of that would be $56,832.07. That's the consulates, that's the mobiles, and all of our existing portables. To upgrade and adapt our existing compatible portables, the ones no longer supported by Motorola, but supported third party. That number is $10,358.48. And then for the 3 new portables to replace those 3 in the hands of full-time deputies on the road, still handling calls and complaints, is $18,291.18. Which is how we come up with the $86,000 figure.
We'll give you a call when we get into this a little bit.
Last figures.
Thank you.
6,000 radio.
All right. All right,
thank you.
probably be calling you with some questions.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank.
Emergency services manager payment. We got some more overtime for him. Yeah,
So this is the, if you, I don't know if you have both requests, but the last request was for the first 2 weeks, which was quite excessive. And this is the downfall of, the extra time. So there's no extra time after this, so.
it's the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I'm back to normal 30 hours a week.
Looks there, the bottom line, what, 950.84, back page.
1370.96, is that it?
Yeah,
Total?
13,796.
Yeah, plus the 420. So move.
We got a motion by Mr. Levy. Support from Presque to pay 1370.96 in the overtime for the storm. Sarah. Roll call vote, please.
Presque.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Brooke.
Yes.
Stellini.
Yes.
And that will be reimbursable if we get the federal declaration too, this, you know.
If we get it, eh?
So kind of fingers crossed.
All right. Material management. Appointment, we had someone left. Someone left them. Replace their material management board. You got that there?
Jana Stefan.
I think it can be done in one motion. You actually need to remove the Andy Tolsdorf, who was the person that left. Andy Tolsdorf. That was just their representative from them before. So you can make a motion to remove Andy Tolsdorf and appoint the Jana Stempel to the board.
Tolsdorf.
Yeah, there's Spelling right there.
I'll make the motion, but you have to get that going. Make a motion, we remove Andy Tolsdorf from the materials management representative to the MMPC. And replace it with Jana Steffel.
Steffel, Steffel.
Yeah,
I'll support that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I didn't get that, then you go tough, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Get that, then you go in.
Yep.
Mutual aid agreement for building and zoning. This is something we've always done.
Yeah.
Just approve it.
When our inspector goes on vacation, we have a reciprocal with Montmorency County.
Where he fills in.
Yep, where he fills in and vice versa. So,
Sounds logical to me.
yeah. So, because especially this time of year, there's no way we can be without for even a week.
I agree.
So
Except that.
that's a very reasonable rate. Should I read this?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Upon ending the contract, Tony Dawson agrees to supply mutual aid to Presque County in the form of backup building inspector for Rob Ransom. Rob Ransom inspects and inspector number 01656 agreed to supply mutual aid to Montmorency County in the form of backup building inspector for Tony Dawson. Inspections will be paid in the amount of $50 per inspection, plus mileage to each party in the appropriate county as agreed. Signed, Tony Dawson, Rob Ransom. And have we made that motion? Yeah.
Made motion subject contract,
I second.
reciprocating that contract.
Mhm.
Roll call, please.
Hughes,
Yeah.
Libby,
Yes.
Crook,
Yes.
Tolini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
We had a resolution for the generator grant. Let's see. $72,000 grant.
So there's two final steps for us to secure the funding. The resolution is one, and then the second step will be to hold a public hearing, which we can do at a future. We'll have to get it advertised in the paper, which then we'll just do at a board meeting during public comment, I think. So
You want me to? Okay. Resolution reads, as authorizing resolution for community development block grant, urgent need. Whereas the Michigan Strategic Fund has invited units of general local government to apply for its 2025 CDBG urgent need program in response to the severe ice storm that occurred in northern Michigan on March 28th through March 30th, 2025. And whereas the county of Presque desires to request $2,000 in CDBG funds as part of the 2025 CDBG urgent need program to address the emergency needs related to the 2025 ice storm. And whereas the proposed project is consistent with the CDBG urgent need application. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the county of Presque hereby designates Cliff Tolini as the environmental review certifying officer. The person authorized to certify the Michigan CDBG application, the person authorized to sign the grant agreement and payment requests, and the person authorized to execute any additional documents required to carry out and complete the grant.
Mr. Chair, I move adoption on this.
Second.
That motion supporting, any more discussion?
Libby,
Yes.
Crook,
Yes.
Tolini, Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Just one question, Sarah. Were we gonna be able to get like 5 large generators?
no, so.
You gotta do the small ones?
Because of the environmental factor, they are not allowing us to do anything bigger. They typically with these federal funds, nothing can be permanent. It all has to be mobile.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be.
And so, yeah, so the only way that they could release these funds to the counties were to have portable generators And so, we know that the function of these will be limited. But we don't want to pass up the opportunity for local businesses to have some sort of backup for
Something.
something. And so I think as a county, it's our responsibility to at least get these out into the communities as something. So unfortunately, we couldn't do $12,000 generators, which definitely makes more sense.
Yeah.
But that's not what they're authorizing.
Well, that's too bad. Oh, well. The resolution doesn't require a roll call. Resolution. On the resolution, we did it.
We're done with that.
Yeah, we already did.
Okay.
I asked the question afterwards, that's the problem.
You got a copy given in the list to sign.
I think it's.
I'll have to do it up on a different letterhead and then seal it and file.
Thank you. Letter of engagement. Confirm that, this is the same firm, this letter of engagement. Regarding the guidance on the ARPA funds. We've already got these people hired for the East Salt Lake and the Grand Lake. And I brought that up to them, I don't know why, I don't know what we're being charged on that East Salt,
It's about the same.
all the same.
Hourly rate.
But we got a letter of engagement here, and he's given us, I got an estimate on what he would have into it, it's between $1,200 and $6,000.
Depending upon how far it has to go. Would this also be included? So they would technically be the law firm, for the county in total?
Yeah.
So this is not just for the ARPA guy.
And then
This
if
is,
you wanted to bring up.
No, this isn't to engage him as our new.
No,
Council,
this
that's
is
what you're
just
at.
for-
Specific to
just for
this.
specific
Gotcha.
to this. I thought that's what you asked,
yeah, I said it the wrong way, maybe. I did.
but if we want to bring in an accounting firm. Get further into it, then it would all go through his office.
Gotcha.
It's just the engagement letter for the additions work that he's already done for us.
I so moved that we adopt, the engagement of Fahey, Schultz, Birch, and Rhodes.
Second.
Yeah, motion is going to adopt. To engage with these. people. Is there any discussion? More discussion, I should say. That will be a roll call vote too.
Crook,
Yes.
Tolini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Federal emergency assistance. for us.
I think it is.
Good enough. All right, I'm Boyd Bialik. I work for the U.S. Department of Ag, Natural Resources Conservation Service. Some of you I know, some of you not so much, but we have offices in every county across the country. Primarily, we do conservation related work with private landowners, agriculture, forestry. But we also have an emergency response program called the Emergency Watershed Program. And this program is available for coming in right on the heels of a natural disaster and kind of shoring things up in case a month later you get another big event. And then things just kind of cascade from there, become bigger problems. I've worked with this program extensively in other locations where I've been stationed, with wildfires, with flooding. So I'm real familiar with it, the ins and outs of it. I have, I'll hand this out for each of you. There's a lot of information in here, so what I'm gonna do is kind of paraphrase it. And then you can, here's one
I got
extra.
one.
Boy, what's the acronym for this program?
EWP. And so this is the one government program that actually functions ungovernmentally because it moves very fast. It gets very fast response. A lot of our other programs are just methodical and they work out and do a lot of good things. But this one is truly set up for emergency response and it operates that way. So we can get a lot of internal things through much quicker. For example, cultural resources that we're required to do. But at any rate, let me just kind of touch on how this program works. And I'm putting out there just something that for you to consider. It could help with some of the issues that may be out there in Presque County. So this program can come in when there are still threats to life and property after some kind of an event happens. The way it works is the federal government would provide 75% of the funding, and it requires a local unit of government as a sponsor. It could be the state, it could be a county, could be some kind of a district. But it requires a local sponsor to come up with the other 25%. The good thing is that can all be in kind. And so in some places, the counties will, the road commission may provide labor, equipment to do some work that counts as in-kind service. So it doesn't have to be cash, it can be. So that's the key thing, is finding this local sponsor. Once they're a local sponsor steps forward, then our people come in and do all the boots on the ground assessments, looking at what's out there, what are the risks, coming up with estimates of what it's going to take in terms of labor and cost to, mediate things after an event such as the ice storm. So in this case, we would primarily focus on coarse woody debris and what risks that might pose, where there are stream crossings, bridges, culverts. Is there a potential if we get a huge rain event for all of this down stuff to mobilize, move downstream, plug something up and either wash out the culvert or bridge or back up water onto some other properties where there is a risk to life or to property. So subdivisions, homes, whatever, that's kind of what we're looking at here. The packet has several things in it. There's a sponsor guide on top that gives you all the details. There's also a letter of request for assistance. So that's the formal letter that a sponsor submits to our state director. And upon receipt of that letter, then kicks into gear the next phase of the process, which is all the field work. So initially, when there's a storm event, there's a 60-day window for a sponsor to step up and say, yep, we'll be that local sponsor. Well, that would have expired today because the official date of the storm is March 30th. So we requested a 60-day extension and received that from the federal, from up on top. And so now the new deadline for a sponsor to step forward is July 30th. So there is some time to discuss, get more information, think about this, explore different options, if it's something you're interested in. Sheboygan County, I have met with, they have already submitted a letter to our state director. And so once that letter was received, then a new 60-day clock starts to tick for us to go out and do all the damage assessments and gather all that data and then provide that to our directors and to the local sponsor. Once that is finished, then we have a cost estimate and estimates of other requirements needed to mitigate the effects of the storm. Congress then has funds that are allocated to that specific project. And at that point, another clock starts to tick And there are 220 days to actually get all the work done. On the ground. There's a lot of, everything is time sensitive, and because it's an emergency response, it's shorter windows, not longer. But we also are, have the abilities to function with those short time. I also included a frequently asked question and answer, a couple pages of that in here. That can help, I think, explain things. Explains these timelines and how they work. It talks about the site assessments that our folks do, what we're looking for. You know, basically, we're trying to quantify the amount and type of debris, and from that come up with a cost estimate. And then also we're looking at evaluating what are the properties, what are the things at risk. We have to put dollar values on that, come up with a cost benefit ratio. So it's gonna cost this much to, you know, clean things up and prevent the disaster, or prevent something from happening. What do we save by doing that? Was it the cost of the bridge? Is it this subdivision with 12 homes in it, or the basements would flood? That kind of.
When you and I talked on the phone, sorry for interrupting. When you and I talked on the phone, Joe, by the way.
Yeah.
The program, while in kind, can be pretty much anything, labor, equipment, materials, if need be. Sheboygan has committed part of their road commission's time to that, or equipment, or
I don't know. That's one of the things they're talking about.
yeah. So the first step is submit the letter,
That's the first.
and then we go assess the damage to our watershed.
Yes.
Is the letter a commitment to the contract though?
Well, it's a commitment to get things started.
To
Once
get
all the
started.
evaluations are done
That's where I was
and
going.
monies get allocated, then an actual agreement is signed.
Right.
So until that time, this is just gets the ball
It
rolling.
just gets it started.
Yeah.
And I,
But you're
And there
not,
is a letter in here, a form letter,
yeah, I see.
and I can email that to you. But basically you fill in the blanks and send in the letter.
That's this.
until you get the cost estimate, you don't know what your cost.
Right.
25%.
Right.
Because there's
And, oh,
Swan River, Akiak River, there's
there's Rainy River.
Rainy River. So,
What would that cost?
yeah, we would have to find out, wouldn't we?
Yes, and that's where the boots on the ground comes in.
Yeah,
How long would that?
and they're
take
doing the
you?
bulk of
We
the
have to
work
do it
for
quick.
that.
How long would that take you though to walk?
We
all
have,
that
we
river?
don't, well, we may not walk it.
You drone it?
I don't know if we'll do that either because the canopy is out now. But I've got some imagery, so that's what's, the pieces that are important are, you know, what do we have available for maps? To identify which rivers, where are all the stream crossings at, so we can go look up all those places. Look upstream of those places, look at where residential areas are that could potentially flood if the river were to dam up and the water spread out.
Washout roads.
Washout
That's where
roads.
the road commission concern would be involved.
Yeah, so we have to kind of get our arms around all of that. Once, you know, in a 60-day period. So it's already, the clock started in Sheboygan County on May 19th. And so we're in the process now of getting out there and getting on the ground, and I came up with an estimate based off of a couple of maps that were provided to me, and I figured up there's about 40, what did I figure, 35 miles of streams and other water creeks, water canals or whatever that we need to look at, and about 50 different culvert and bridge crossings. That's in Presque County, boy. No, this is Sheboygan. And Sheboygan. this is primarily just the Little Black River watershed and along the Sturgeon River. So those were the two that they kind of thought were the ones that were, there's issues. So we narrowed it down that far. And I came up with this estimate so that we can now staff this to get all this evaluation work done. And you can imagine now if Presque, and I met with Emmett County officials yesterday, and then there'll be Charlevoix County potentially, so we could be pretty busy.
All northeast Michigan. Huh?
Yeah, really.
Probably some of
Alpena County
Andrews,
just
too.
contacted me yesterday, my counterpart there. So it's I'm not the official point of contact, but it's kind of evolving that way. because we're the ones leading it up here, I guess, in this area. And so my counterparts in other counties are now calling, so what are you finding out, or how do we do this? But I mean, it all works out. We've got people kind of poised and ready to go to do like engineer stuff if we need it. Probably won't need a whole lot, but on the cost estimates, probably we will. Also, at the back of your packet is a couple pages of a sample of how we collect data in the field and then come up with cost estimates. The very last 2 pages are engineering sheets, computation sheets. And you can just see on the front page of one, looking at the stream, where's the woody debris at, how big is it, how much? And then on the flip side of it is the actual estimate of this many hours of an excavator, this much of trucking, laborers.
Where's the letter?
The letter is right behind the sponsorship guide. It has a bunch of red,
Okay.
fill in the blank on it.
Oh, page.
Try to find mine here. Yeah, it looks like this. That's the letter.
Yep, we got it.
One of the things that we discovered we need to get an answer to real quick from Eagle is whether we can chip and mulch in place. Or if all the materials got to be removed above the 100-year flood zone. Because those are 2 vastly different economical numbers.
Yes, they are.
And so we got to find somebody who will make a decision on that. You know, if we can just chip it in place within the stream corridor, or if it's got to all be hauled out of there, some off river site. So that's my endeavor. My number 1 priority now is to try to get that answer. I got some imagery internally, this morning, some satellite imagery that was flown April 1st. Very fortuitous. I haven't looked at it yet. She said it's a little bit cloudy, but so I'm gonna take a look at that, but that can be, it could potentially be very helpful in terms of not having to walk everything, be able to look in some areas and go, you know what, this one's not so bad. Another thing is if you know of areas that you feel like are, you know, yeah, this is pretty bad here, try to put that together for us. So at least we have starting points.
Yeah. With
Otherwise,
pictures.
we're gonna come up with the starting points and just, you know, get out there and start ground truthing things. But we think we can do a lot. My previous experiences with this, we were able to do a lot with just good imagery. And then just kind of pick a few places and go, yep, that kind of matches up with what we were seeing from the imagery. But if you have access to any imagery or maps for Presque County, I would welcome them. All I have are flat book maps, which are very low. I have to get my magnifying glass out.
FSA won't share anything with you?
Well, they do, but it's just, they're still not, they don't make big maps. I can get track maps, right? I can see what you're doing at your place, at least a year ago. By looking at the aerial imagery. So they get once a year, we have access to some aerial imagery, but it's, you know, what we're using now is from 2024.
So this letter of request gets the ball rolling, but when I'm reading in this, as a sponsor, we understand our sponsors' emergency watershed protection measures and that our responsibilities will include contributing. Is that binding, contributing just by this letter?
I don't think so. It's just a letter, right? It's not a contract.
Correct.
So I don't believe so,
It's just a general
but
knowledge.
it's, yeah, it gets things moving. It's a letter of request. Requesting it. And I believe it means that, you know, we're aware of potentially what our responsibilities could be.
Right.
Trying to see if there's anything else here that. There's and also if we were to get funding for this, it can be used for example, we don't have enough engineers, more engineers are needed. They can be paid for through EWP funds. Or if materials gotta be hauled and shipped off-site, then the monies can also be used for that. So it's not exclusive to just what is happening in the channel moving material. It's kind of getting it to where it's addressed.
Well, we've all been addressed, and I'm going to make a big assumption because I get about 3 calls a day from homeowners, landowners, property owners, cottage owners, people concerned with buildup in the rivers. And our ability is fairly limited financially in what we can and cannot do. But at the same time, maybe there's some in-kind stuff we can work on. And should the governor, I think that $100 million bill's under desk, we will receive some funds that we have to
I don't know how that will be proportioned to.
yeah, we're not sure how that will be able to go. And our road commission is very taxed just cleaning out the roads, but
They are.
to start the engagement right now, without committing any funds at this point, I think we have to. I think it's a service we provide, and take a look at every opportunity to provide assistance and care of our watersheds, because you're gonna get flooding. And at some point, even these green trees start to break up. The ones that are in the river, overhanging the river, and so on and so forth. So this is a step in the right direction in terms of what we can possibly get accomplished towards the end.
I guess I would recommend, look through the packet.
Yep,
and-
I have. I forwarded it to everybody after
Did
you
you?
forwarded
Okay,
it to
good.
me.
But just so you are, in case you have other questions about it, please get a hold of me. So maybe you wait a few days before you send your letter in, so if there's any question marks, we've at least addressed those. So you know exactly where you're at. I've got,
Binding,
It is not.
you know.
I don't see that it is, but I can double check.
Yeah,
because-
and if you would please resend a copy of a fillable form,
Okay,
of this letter,
I'll try.
or,
I'll
and
try.
if it's not fillable, just tell us what we need to put in terms of Cliff Talini, chairman.
Yeah. Okay,
Are you looking for like old school paper maps?
anything.
Sheriff's office has awesome county maps. They're the best ones I've seen anywhere. And they're right in the lobby.
Okay. I think we'd like to get things, we can get a copy of it so we can have it in our office. So our teams that are gonna go out on the ground, we can look at things and kind of parse things up, you guys go here, you guys go there. Kind of like a war room, basically. It's how we've kind of operated when I've been involved in these projects.
Floyd, were you here when the Kuznetskis made their case about Swan River with 50 trees
Yes,
across?
yep,
You heard all that?
Yep.
How would you attack something like that with your crew?
well, we'll go look at it. We'll come up with an idea of this is how much material is there. And then from that, we can determine it's gonna take, this many hours with an excavator and this many trucks and this many people. And then you just get in and do
I'm just wondering how you can get to the site if there's no
Well-
roads or anything, just brush.
it. So that's another issue we have to look at. As we're doing this field work, is access is also critical.
Right.
Can
Even
we
if
get
they
to it or
let,
not?
even if they let you chip it.
Tell me, what's the access look like at your place? Is that accessible or is it?
It take a little work, but you can get back there.
Okay, I just was curious.
Another thing with the sponsor is also responsible for any permits. So like if you have to get a permit from Eagle or Corps of Engineers or something like that, the sponsor is the one who takes care of that part of it. Again, my experience has been it's something you do, but it's streamlined.
So if I'm hearing you right, if we get into this, the government will pay 75%, we're on look for 25%.
Correct.
But there could be grants coming or money coming down from the feds that would help.
Well, I don't know if you can match Fed with Fed though. That could be problematic.
No.
So you have to think about how you do that or.
Well, the money
I'm not
coming
being
through the
reported.
state. There is money coming through the state if the governor signs the bill.
Okay.
So that was to provide storm assistance. And a good chunk-
And then
Yeah,
the-
that
Yeah.
money is only available if the federal declaration is denied, and that hasn't been proved yet either. So
Right. There's a lot of things up in here,
And
plus
then
the
the-
fact that we gotta make our road commission whole first. So,
They're not even planning for that.
No.
I mean, they're not buying trucks this year
Right.
because they're gonna have $1.2 million to clean up. That they're gonna have to eat probably if they don't get this federal disaster.
right,
The other thing too, the sponsor handles all the, like the subcontracting. Like once we have, like there's 13 projects, this is what they are, you put out your bids or however they do things. But we don't do that part of it. We're gonna be overseeing it, looking at the receipts, have people on the ground watching, just to make sure everything gets done the way,
That could be
we
a
want
fun
it done.
I could. For a
It
couple
is.
months, yeah,
I think we got the ball rolling at least.
absolutely.
All right, go ahead, you approached the Sheboygan Board of Commissioners as well,
Yes.
and they did fill out the paperwork and they're going forward.
What response did you get from Emma?
Well, I just met with them yesterday, and I'll say that, you know, I think the word's just kind of getting out now,
Yeah,
like, hey, this is available. And so when I met with them, that was kind of the first they had heard about this
Yeah.
as an option.
Is Alpena and Montmorency?
They're aware. Yeah, my counterpart called me yesterday, Brian, you know Brian.
Yeah.
He called me up about it saying, well, what should we do, or how do we move forward? I mean, he goes, there's he's getting some people calling in. So Emmett County, they hadn't been hearing much, but as we were talking through it, they were kind of going, well, you know, maybe the Crooked River, and maybe here, maybe there. And so they have the information, they'll look through it. And I always said, let me know, I'll come over, I'll go out with you, or somebody will. And, you know, so that we can, if there is interest and you want to do this, then we'll make it happen.
I think the
We'll get it
road
done.
commission would be real interested in getting that data from them because they know which rivers have a tendency to back up.
right,
to the road,
right.
just from the beaver alone.
Even if we submit the letter, which I think we should, submit the letter, get the process started, and then at the next road commission meeting, you can bring this up with them and
Yeah.
they're all gonna go, we're too busy to do anything, but by the time we get past this assessment, evaluation, approval,
Assessment might scare them.
yeah, exactly. So,
Our assessment?
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's pretty. I hope it doesn't. It's
No, I'm talking about the dollar amount.
the dollar amount. Oh, yeah, yeah. And so it's also important to prioritize projects too.
Yeah,
yeah,
Because sometimes Congress will come back and say, well, you wanted 1.5 million, we'll give you 1.2. So I'm like, okay, then we have to. squeeze
Yeah,
it
they
down.
always do that.
I make a
Well, but
motion,
at
we
the
submit
same
the letter.
time, they also, I've seen where sometimes they haven't. So let's say we come up with, we need $2 million. We start doing the work and we're like, holy crap, we need $3 million. You can get extra money. Like you can, you're not done with your initial request.
Right.
If as you get into it, you see the need is greater, the cost is greater, we can request more funds. So,
Yeah.
it's a very
I make a
streamlined, yeah, you'll be surprised how ungovernmental like it is for
Really?
government program.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I make a motion that we finish drafting the letter and authorize Chairman Tellini to sign it for submission. Support.
Non-binding sponsorship.
Correct.
We have a motion.
I'm sorry.
Any more discussion?
I was gonna say, you have my contact information then through basically with the email circulating and
Yep.
whatnot. Okay.
Okay, got you.
Mhm. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Need-
you.
Need a vote.
Yeah, roll call.
Delaney,
Yes.
Presque,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby,
Yes.
Brooke.
Yes. Health insurance plan. I didn't see anything in the packet.
There was a,
Okay,
you have all the information that she brought. It's just the information that she brought
They have a
previously.
deadline on the health insurance too, correct?
Yes, they need to know which, just which plans to go in with to get to make sure that the renewal happens on time.
I looked over all the plans and we really only had one option of what we got. That's the 80-20.
Well, it's not about the finances on it right now. That can be addressed at next meeting and they'll put those out too. They just need to let priority know if basically we're going with the same options that we, I mean, when you reviewed them, you know, those were ones that had some slight increases, but then, you know, the blues were astronomical. And basically that's what they want to know is which ones they're letting them know to get the ball rolling on. And then she'll be in touch with me and we'll put together what we need to figure out for the public 152, Public Act 152 and the hard caps. the cost share to evaluate all that. They'll do that afterwards. But right now, she's just, she needs an answer on what plans.
The current plan.
Yeah, well, there's three options on the current plan, that's what they.
Should we attend that meeting?
Board.
So we're looking at two things, Mr. Chairman, to go A with priority and B, select a certain of three plans the priority is offering.
Yes, sir.
They don't have them numbered, but
You have a recommendation, Mr. Chairman?
What did you see? I'm
What did we
sorry.
have last time? What we go with priority and which plan?
I was looking at the first plan, but that's just my opinion. The very first one.
Well, all three of them are, what they've done is that they offer all three plans, those three that say current plans. They offer all three of those and the employees elect which one they want.
So
Right.
basically you go with priority and then the employee can designate option 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah,
Everyone
forget
is
about
special.
options 1 through 5. Just the first 3 plans and the employees can choose whichever.
No, those are the current plans, those are not. Those are the current plans. The options 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the options. Starting July 1.
Okay.
So,
Well, typically then, if we go with priority, then each individual gets to choose options 1 through 5.
no, normally they
That's-
don't offer.
Maybe we should
This
get
is
her
the
on the phone and
informational
maybe
meeting.
special thing because. I was
It
familiar,
narrows,
Yeah.
usually it's narrowed down to 2 options,
and she needs
because
it
the
today.
third option is a Medicare option. That's, I mean, it's not really, it's for people who can only choose that, that's what, so usually,
Options 1 and 2.
yeah, usually there's 2 options. Yeah. But also,
There was also options last year that included, as employees, there was different HSA options that were included. I want to say there was 3 or 4 options we as employees were able to pick from, depending on how much the employee wanted to pay. And this, I think, is what you as a board need to do, is you need to set those options that we as employees get to choose from.
Just pick out the 3 you want. Choose.
But if you're going to talk about HSA options too, have you talked about that at all? You know, are you going to change that? That needs to be decided before we as employees get to choose.
and she was here on May 13th. And she was also supposed to get back with us with more information. Did you guys get more information after May 13th?
I got nothing.
Because we burned 2 weeks of time, which we can't get back. I know they need an answer quickly in order to,
Probably gonna have to get
yeah.
it.
No employees were.
Here is a renewal summary. Didn't you have the renewal summary? That's in color, so that's not something I got.
Because typically it takes the Acrisure company, a couple of weeks to get everything in place so that we have our new insurance ready to go by July 1. And we're already May 30th.
3. Non-dates you were. Oh, sheet. Okay. The top 3.
Mhm. So basically, this is what we're doing right now. Current plan, active and early retiree, current plan, active. and
That's the
early
3 they could choose from right
That's
there.
what we have right now.
And current plan Medicare,
Which choose from.
is a rare breed around here, but so,
Sure, it was.
Yeah.
No,
Lose an
one.
I
answer
think there's
today.
one right now.
It won't, you can't wait till next meeting, so your other option is I can call and have her come back here and you should schedule a
Can't you just-
special meeting.
Can't
Or
you just zoom in? Some special meeting.
probably could. She probably would come up either way, but then you're gonna need to set a special meeting prior to the next one. And make all of your decisions.
Yeah, I ain't gonna make a decision right now. I mean, I'm not voting on it too. She should probably be here.
Right down off.
So you're saying, Mr. Chairman, we cannot really make an informed decision.
I can't make a confident decision.
And get the others involved so that they're gonna relay it to employees. I agree.
Sooner the better.
I'll be in touch as soon as I can arrange it with her to do a special meeting.
Even if she zooms in. Teams in.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be an open meeting. So it'll go out, you know. I can make sure that you just know, through like the department head emails of it too, that it's happening, so.
We've never been notified before, so just wondering, being that the time.
Well, I think what they're talking about is setting up on, and first few days of next week.
Yeah.
Setting up a special meeting.
Before our next meeting.
Yeah, we gotta do 72-hour notice. And 48, anyway, and get it posted, and then he'll email all the department heads, those interested parties that would like to attend, can attend at that time. Is that acceptable? Okay.
We'll do that then. Default to what you got.
No, otherwise you want
just-
coverage.
Oh, really? She would say it would default.
Yeah, there's a.
You still have to renew it.
That. If you're not, you know, if employees aren't enrolled by a certain date, they can't guarantee coverage. Correct.
The enrollment and the Public Act 152 and cost share are two completely separate issues. That wasn't, yeah.
And-
We were dealing with the
Yeah,
enrollment.
and there's.
But now it'll probably be combined in both because that clock is ticking, so. You know,
And as far
I'll
as.
see what
the
she can do to
cost-
put things together to do it all.
Do it all in one day.
And as far as the Act, Public Act 152 cost share, that's a negotiable item. You do realize you have 3 unions. And you need to negotiate with those unions. You can't arbitrarily choose something. If you look at those contracts, you will see what's required.
Be back in 2 or 3 minutes, Mr. Chairman.
You want to recess?
Yes, please.
2 or 3 minute recess. We'll work
3-minute
from
recess. You gotta go to.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Everybody over 60.
We're still recording, but I have muted.
I'm going. I'll wait for the crowd to die down first.
First, as you get older, the cost will be.
I don't dig into all this and I'm not going to, because I don't,
No.
this is not an area that I
No.
know about, so that's literally why we pay somebody to do this. But I understand she comes here with all the spreadsheet.
Too bad. Too bad.
And that's the thing, I don't get what she's saying too. I've never been, I've only been on the receiving end of this. I just got the insurance.
I know for one thing, from the school, HSAs have become very, very popular with the cost of healthcare. HSAs.
She's saying 7%.
She needs to explain to us what action you need to take, but essentially, not so much keeping what we are.
Right. But
these employees are all no, because they like that. There's kind of things that happen in certain ways, but the things that happen in those certain ways were literally the things like former clerk just did all our. And so it's like, well, that's the point. It's like, I'm not going to just do this. Or maybe we take off when I was over. Then when it's something that they want you to do all the extra legwork. And you don't get both of them in the same package.
And we always did. The reason I say is the last conversation, they were gonna pay. And it was yesterday.
Plus having-
This person's. Yeah. So that was the easiest, but over time, the 80-20
Yeah.
are beginning to close in on each other through the years, so it's coming very close.
So then you do.
Cap benefit change.
Well, you can't, that
You
one, you
can't.
can't be part
Like I said, they
of
have closing, and that is on the employer side to make your choice by a certain time. As per.
I mean,
Yeah, whatever you just.
Yeah, there is, that's why I'm just sitting right there, because I bet I've sat in this position. Yeah, this is absolutely- I chose for everybody year after year. Nobody ever complained, but when Snyder wasn't on, one you choose, you can't choose a different one next year. It was one you choose, you chose.
And like, Medicare.
Yeah, one you
Whatever
choose,
plan you
you
take,
choose.
stuff
That's
with it.
it. But we picked, and back when it came up, when it first started, it was major difference. And HSAs are becoming more popular each time because that drives the cost of insurance down a little bit and gives them the opportunity to have a savings account and start paying off these. These deductibles are astronomical. I mean, I'm not used to that in law school. It was 500 and 1,000. That's all the deductible is on these. Yeah, but Mesa was, once a single hit $500 out of pocket cost, everything is paid for 100%. There's no more deductible.
yeah.
Make that green.
Yeah, I thought I told you about it. I just wanted to make sure
Actually,
that I did.
when I go out now and work, because I had to work myself. What I'm paying now as a retiree is still a little bit less than what they were paying.
Really, air quality
I
alert.
mean, if it's
Presque.
not, I used to get the close of Mesa is Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's
Wonder
just
why?
Mesa staffed
Did a fire somewhere?
and.
Back.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's- But anyway, so I was just giving you a little bit of history because that's an area I do know about. You could add something to.
You should be at the next meeting here. We'll have to decide.
Yes. Hopefully it's not on Friday or Thursday. I'm gonna be in the dentist chair for a couple of hours.
Are you going?
I still haven't made my.
I've been, oh, you haven't. Jeez.
Come on, Joe.
Agree. We got a recess. Another recess.
Robin, are you going to the hunt meeting
Yes,
You'd have to go very.
next Friday.
next Friday?
Next Friday, I think it starts at 10 a.m.
I think so.
Yeah.
11.
Okay, well, I'm leaving at 10.
We got afraid you get lost?
And when. No, because it's right next to where I
It's
always
right-
shop.
Yeah, it's right next to Walmart.
Huh?
It's right next to Walmart.
It's right next to Maurice's.
Oh,
As a matter of fact.
like I'm gonna go to.
From Maurice's, there's, you drive through the parking lot and you go down and right there it is. They've even got a little ramp going down it.
Even.
Yeah, I don't know what Joe's going to.
Yeah. She's not, she's gonna be at a seminar.
It's- And, well, Zach McLennan is on.
Sorry.
That's fine. There we go. Recess. Committee reports. Public health and safety.
Public health and safety met last Tuesday, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff Joe Brubaker came in and gave a written report. One item of importance has to do with marine grants. Normally, the government gives the county $6,000 to $8,000 to cover marine coverage. Sheriff Brubaker says they got 3 part-time officers and 2 boats. They're patrolling Lake Huron and inland lakes. At the end of the season, normally the government reimburses $6,000 to $8,000. However, there is a disagreement as to who has authority over these bodies of water. Is it the DNR or is it the Coast Guard? And they're squabbling right now. And right now, they don't have an answer. Joe is hopeful by the end of the season, they will have this figured out, but right now they don't. And if they don't figure it out, the county could be on the hook for $6,000 to $8,000 to pay for the marine work that his officers and their boats are doing in our county and Lake Huron on inland lakes. So he's hopeful that'll be settled.
So the DNR just figured it out.
It seems to me the Coast Guard would have authority over the Great Lake and the DNR within the state of Michigan, the inland lake. Chris, what is your take on that?
Yes, I mean, that's what I would think, but we got an email saying that the DNR and the state has suspended funding
Yeah,
until this is figured out between the 2 entities.
Coast Guard and DNR duking it out.
So whatever grant money we were approved to get from last year when we applied is in limbo right now. And I got another one today that said possibly next year only 25%.
So Joe did say, worst case scenario, to fall back on the county, $6,000 to $8,000. That was part of it. Sarah Melching showed up. She was giving a good report. I had a dental appointment in Traverse City. I had to leave early, but what she did cover was something we're already aware of. We're getting a $72,000 grant for generators, 30 generators. Okay, first of all, I didn't ask her, where will they be stored when we get them? Have any idea?
That's a mystery right now, but I've got some ideas.
Okay, and the idea is we have another traumatic storm. There are 5 areas in Presque County, Rogers City, Onaway, Posen, Millersburg, and Presque, which would each would get 6 generators to deal with. Now, how do you decide which businesses get it? Well, Sarah's got a plan. She's got an application form. All the businesses will get it. You fill out your name, the store, and in 2 sentences, tell how those generators are necessary for that business. And then you'd be making a decision as to which ones seem to make the most sense, and then make a decision as to which 6 in a community would get those generators. That was to me fascinating. Then I had to walk out at that point. Maybe Robin, you can flesh out the rest of it. That's all I got.
You'll make the decision on which business is essential then, that needs it.
Well, I don't necessarily know it should just be me, but I would like, maybe there should be some others involved. Maybe
Have a committee.
Yeah, we'll put together a committee, but I also will be, I have a document that I've created to release the county being responsible for that generator. Once that business gets the generator, the authority has been transferred to them, so the county is no longer responsible for that generator. So
Indemnification.
yeah, so that paperwork would have to go to an attorney to review. I don't know that process. I don't know who we're using for an attorney, but that document should probably be reviewed with an attorney to make sure it is
Sign off
what it
on it.
needs to be. But then I'm not having to house, like, when these generators arrive, there's gonna be a date and you come pick your generator up, or we figure out a way to get it delivered. I'm not housing 30 generators for the next 6 months to 5 years. They need to come in and go out. So that would be very important.
Temporarily put them in a hangar there.
I think the old airport hangar or something, I'm not quite sure, but we're gonna need some space temporarily.
Sarah, do we have to wait for an actual emergency before they're doled out, or are you suggesting they pick them up prior to any emergency? If they're one of the 6 lucky ones, they get them, pick them up and store them?
Yeah, we're not waiting like for another emergency. I mean, if we have one tomorrow, that's another story, but when I take possession, when Home Depot delivers these generators, there's going to be a pickup date and they need to go out.
That's like 50 generators, ain't it?
It's gonna be
electricity generators, and then it will include gas cans, any plugs, cords they need, that kind of thing. So there'll be $14,000 excess for us to be able to purchase necessary gas cans and anything that they may need with it.
All right,
Okay,
anything else?
That's all we have, Mr. Chairman.
courthouse and grounds,
Courthouse and grounds.
you got it? No, okay, courthouse and grounds met and, present was Al from the,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, from the airport. Also present was, Lighthouse Association, maintenance, and I'm missing. Anyway, yeah, we're all cleaning up after storm, doing typical spring repairs. And, no further assistance was asked for above and beyond that.
That's where, Al from the airport had mentioned he had plenty of storage space in an old hangar.
Yep.
We need to store things unheated.
We haven't met on these, personnel yet. So that's,
Personnel.
yep.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, I noticed there's finance. We have no report from the finance committee today.
finance,
Right up here at finance.
finances before the first meeting.
Okay, I was asked recently where we are budget wise as far as, for instance, the Akiak Outdoor Center. How does this all work? When are the budgets compiled and made official? July 1st? I knew I want to find this out.
We're gonna be meeting.
You want to report on the budget committee?
This month. We're gonna
You're gonna meet this month, the month of June you're talking about.
all throughout June.
And then by the end of June, you have them finalized and that's it. Right, I just wonder how the process works, because I did attend the Akiak Outdoor Center meeting on, thanks to Joe, on May 28th. And I was asked, well, where are we in the budget? Is it about $20,000 for the county to help kick in to keep that center going? I don't know any of these answers, but in my opinion, $20,000 is a pretty small price to pay for a gem like that to keep it going in the county.
I'd like to, I was gonna wait till other commissioner comments. I'd like to comment on something that, 17 years ago, part of my responsibility when I was duties as assigned coordinator for the county, part of my responsibility was looking after the Akiak Outdoor Center, and I worked with Chris Sorgenfry and many people from that group. And 17 years have gone by now, and I'm getting reacquainted. And yes, there was talk of what to do with the center, as it has never been self-sufficient funding wise. And I don't know if it ever can. There are things that concern me, absolutely. Things that can be fixed, possibly. But a long-term strategic plan for that needs to include becoming financially self-sufficient. And that was discussed 17, 18 years ago, and they've never been financially self-sufficient.
What are you raising for?
I just wanna say, if you refer to page 20 of your board packet, you will see the Acapulco Door Center Fund there. It's number 558.
Yep.
It
And the
shows-
treasurer?
Treasurer's report.
Shows the year-to-date balance, year-to-date revenues, expenditures. Right, as of April 30th, it was only under, I mean, it was over budget by $129.70 year-to-date. So it's not.
So we're hanging in it pretty well as far as the Akiak Outdoor Center.
You probably haven't had it, and there's many rentals as, you know.
We have about $5,000 in rental.
Hard coming back.
It's coming back.
But we have to. fiscal year.
Continue on, Joe, would you?
Yeah, and what does the county contribute to that fund every year?
That must be the revenue by transfer, $15,000. From the line item. correct? Looking 508 section. Revenue by transfer,
Mhm.
15,000. That's probably what the county puts in.
No, that the amended budget was 25. The available is 15. So there's still money that hasn't been transferred. So, you know.
25 is what the county's. put
Yeah,
in.
we've
Yeah.
only moved 10 so far. And so,
That's what it calls.
yeah,
Mhm.
so there needs to be a transfer.
Yeah, my only thought process always was, it just needs to be self-sustaining. And the report from Mike, when Rob and I were there, was that none of the air conditioners are working right now.
As you can tell, many years ago.
Yeah,
Of course, over time, they need to be replaced or donor, but we do everything we can to get as much donation and stuff as again, we're coming out of 2020
right.
and. You know, I mean, everybody's just trying to survive. The same with the ice cream. We're all trying to survive it.
And it wasn't my, in discussing options with other people on the Akac Outdoor Center board that expressed concerns that the county has committed funds for this grant when they should have committed funds for replacing asbestos siding, with fixing structures, with replacing sidewalks that sorely need replacing. Is that the best way to spend the money? And that was discussed, I think, at your meeting, and it was discussed during the tour. So that's where all that came from.
There's nothing we can do about that.
No, and there's nothing we can, and there was no intent on my part to let it go back. And that comment was made, here are the options. You can make it self-sufficient, you convert it into something different that helps it become self-sufficient, or at some point it's got to go back. But I don't think that was discussed, and I said that, because I don't want that to happen either. I think it's a wonderful attraction. It's a bit of a pink elephant, but 96 beds. But it's a burden on other taxpayers, and a lot of which don't know it exists or have never been there. And we need to find a way that the county doesn't need to contribute funds every year to make this thing float when we have so many other commitments we need to do. That's my point.
I don't know.
Yes, please.
This isn't an open forum here.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Done. The only thing that was on the team is what has been brought in with revenue. And though during those years, if there had been maybe a little bit more, it would be in better shape now. So.
But I just wanted to comment on the earlier comment that I wished it to go back. I don't. And I have,
Any other committees?
yeah, I attended the NMCA, Northern Michigan Counties Association meeting in Roscommon in person. And it was an interesting discussion. Some things of note. The 100 million is now out of Senate. At that time was still in the Senate. Bills for restoring local control, they don't expect them to pass for clean energy projects. There are lobbyists and legislative people that are involved don't think that even if it happened to get through both houses, that the governor would sign it. They expect a little more revenue sharing than last year, is yet to be determined. They seem to make that decision on the fly. Some very good things were discussed as it relates to marketing and so on and so forth amongst it was really neat having attended that, and that you see what other counties are doing from their perspective and who they think they are and where they think they want to go. And I'll be attending the next EDC, CDC meeting to discuss those things with them. And with today's day and age, there's a way to do that very affordably, market the county in terms of its strengths. And that was not available to us, Chris, 25 years ago, with media, social media, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be discussed and see if we can refocus some things because our county has changed in the last 20 years. We used to look for business and industry. yeah. We see how that worked out. So anyway, so long story short, that was the Northern Michigan Counties Association report. I have one more recycling, but
Go ahead. Your side.
okay. In the last 4 days, I've gotten
Lots of calls.
12, 14 calls.
I got a few too.
Yeah, most of you might have. I know Rob has. From people concerned about our recycling bins. At our last meeting, if you recall, the recycling bins are scheduled to start being dumped twice a week this coming week. And I wish that would have made the paper. There has been numerous requests for a third recycling dumpster at Craco Township. And at one time they had 4 and now they have 2. And this is the time of the year that things pick up. It will be a small added cost to the county, and I'm waiting to hear back from Chris as to what that would be. Because I don't think we can take one from any other site because they're all busy and being more and more utilized. So I think we need to at least look at a third dumpster for Craco recycling.
What did they do with the 2 that were there?
One went to Presque, I think. He left.
He would.
Yeah, there's 6 down in Presque Township.
There's 6 of them though.
There's 6, yeah.
So
3,
that's where the 2 went.
I think so.
3 for paper and cardboard, and then 3 for
Plastic.
containers, yeah.
Those filled up and
Always.
enough to dump twice.
You should see back in the woods behind there too. It's a mess. And then on 23 up there at the Craco one. I mean, I sent you the picture the other day, Monday morning. It's
So critical, the cost would be the cost of
A dumpster per month.
dumpster.
Yep.
Can't even remember what.
And they're starting to pick up, like I said, next week, twice a week, which should help out Presque and
and it
Craco.
was a holiday weekend.
Yeah. So long story short, I'll get that cost together and present it at the next meeting.
Yeah. Chris.
Yeah.
I know ours were overflowing in Al's. Ours were just as bad in Al's. But they emptied them. I actually called them. Asked them.
Huh?
My office has been taking calls
Oh,
constantly.
All right.
The big old dumpster.
Do you have
That's what Mondays
that
look
it?
like.
That's it for Lisa.
Bob, do you have a report for health department? District 4, or you want me to do it?
You and I are there, and I don't even think about coming to the board with a full report.
All right, I don't have a full report with district health, we not here. I just want to briefly tell you where this goes. Dr. Myerson was talking about rabies. 48 bats tested positive for rabies in Michigan. 2024. Most of the rabies that are transmitted are from bats. As well as skunks, foxes, but most of them are bats. We're losing our environmental health director too, Kevin Prelos, he's retiring. So he's gonna have to be replaced. I don't know how we're gonna find anybody with that kind of experience to replace him, but. He just decided, I thought he was gonna be there for 2 more years, but then he just decided he's retiring. It appears. Let's see, what else did he say? The time of transfer ordinance proposed by Presque Township was adopted. According to the ordinance, it will go into effect 180 days after adoption. We will now wait for intergovernmental agreement to be formalized by the township and sent to us for review. The health department. Once that agreement is entered into, then a fee schedule will occur. And in the meantime, he's been working on an application and inspection plans for the process. So apparently they're gonna have to enforce it, but they're gonna be inspecting District 4.
I don't know how they're gonna man it for inspections.
No. Well, they
But
should've
it
called
sounds,
it.
I believe, I don't have all the details, but I think the plan is this would be upon the sale of a house.
Private transfer.
to have,
It's not gonna be.
like Halls or somebody come out and do the inspection. And I think they picked 1972 as the date of homes. I don't know if it's all homes, I'm not sure.
I haven't seen the ordinance.
Yeah, you will soon. But it wasn't as stringent as what was originally proposed. It turned out to be, and if you're gonna buy and sell a home, you should have it septic inspected anyway, I would think.
Yeah.
And then I guess that'll go cost of the purchaser.
Or as negotiated.
What's that?
No, it's all good.
Hiring challenges for positions too. District Court Health is gonna need a sanitarian, which I told you about, and an accountant. 2 registered nurses were hired to help Helen and Hillman. They finally filled the Hillman deal. And they're having trouble due to the lack of housing in the area. Affordable housing, I should say. IT guy didn't have a whole lot. And it's gonna be doing Nick from emergency services, preparedness. They're gonna be doing some active shooter drills in the various district or health departments, so. But it's gonna be everybody's gonna know about it before they do it.
Good.
That's basically it. They screened 103 kids for dental too at the schools. That's been a big deal out there. We also need to look for an accountant too, because they're ill of thing. So they got about 3 positions to fill. And that's why they're gonna have an executive meeting here, I guess, next month.
The other thing I'd like to get on,
Then the other thing is, to report a little bit on information. The totals for the storm so far cleanup are $780,000. The road commission share. It looks like opposing crews are about 95 to 95% done with brush cleanup. Conway's about 50% done. And Roger City's garage is 60 to 70% done. I believe the 50% done in Onaway is due to the amount of local county gravel roads we got in the compared to the fault lines. Bismarck Township requested permission to pave the right of way at Trailhead Park and Hawks. 451, it's probably done by now, shouldn't be complete.
it is yesterday.
We do have some interest for part-time employees, summer help, they'll start June 2nd. Kids. Akiak Township's meeting regarding Permazine went well, they're considering some options. These will be in the 2026 projects most likely. Posen garage roof is being scheduled by Rogers and Son Construction. Redo the metal roof. Brian requested coming in, they'll probably start before the weekend, which they did out there. And he's gonna be driving around doing assessment of damage to the roads from the Stillworth Farm. He'll have a report, a Pazer report on that, so. That's about it. Any other committees then?
I'd like to talk about the budget committee. Do you have a time next week? We wanna sit down and start roughing it in?
Sit down. Pick out a time with anything but Wednesday.
Anything but Wednesday, yeah. And
Okay.
Darren,
Pretty flexible. How about you, David?
I will not be here Friday next week.
Friday.
so
Friday.
you pick it, we'll spend long
I'll
as
go
we need.
through the book and figure out anything but Wednesday. and
Yep.
Friday.
Or actually, no, Monday I'm on the road doing election audits in 2 different jurisdictions.
Audits.
So I got Tuesday and Thursday.
That worked.
North Dallas, you on North Dallas.
No,
Tuesday or Thursday, I'm good. Just let me know.
Alright. Any commissioner comments?
Commissioner comment time? I gotta thank Joel for giving me a heads up, because it was a blessing going to the Akiak Outdoor Center, and sitting in at a 90-minute meeting. They got a full agenda, they had 10 people there, 2 former county commissioners sitting on that board. And they're working their tails off to make that viable. And I was very, very impressed with them and told them that I had their back as far as I was concerned as a commissioner. I'm not gonna let that slip back to the DNR if I got anything to say about it. Now, I get the Presque County Advance, and I want to read a brief thing that Representative Cabot, there was an article in the paper. I want to read it briefly to you. State Representative Cam Cabot, Sheboygan, secured $144,300 for dock path improvement for the outdoor center at Akiak. The Akiak Outdoor Center has served our northern Michigan community for nearly 100 years, said Cabot. This facility has remained operational despite a laundry list of headwinds, any one of which would have closed the camp if not for the overwhelming community support that continues to keep the outdoor camp running. And I'm thinking about our Akiak friends who donate time and expertise to do it. Cabot continues. This new funding marks a turning point for the relationship between the state and the Akiak Outdoor Center. Instead of threatening another shutdown, the state is partnering with the local community to expand the camp's educational and recreational opportunities, further cementing it as a pillar in outdoor learning for generations to come. And then it concludes the Akiak Outdoor Center is one of 2 remaining civilian conservation corps camps in Michigan. And I thought that was timely, given that I was there on Wednesday, what we talked about today, and this is right in the middle of that. Now, they've got some neat things planning. They're talking about a stargazing program, lumberjack breakfast, scary walks. They've got fundraising projects. They're talking about marketing. These people got it together, doing their very, very best to do what they can to make this camp sustainable and viable.
Did he said he secured funding from the state.
Yeah.
That was for the grant.
That, I think, this is Cabot's language. I'm not, this isn't me. I was reading right out of the article paper here. Okay, but we do have that grant, $144,000, right? But we need to use it by the 2026, correct, Chris?
That's for the kayak launch.
Yeah, the kayak launch, the dock, the groundwork going down to it. It's pretty thing, and Kirk and Libby, they were out there with the landscaper.
I don't know where all the talk come from on shutting it down. It's never been discussed about shutting.
Well, we haven't, that's for sure.
I mean,
And
I
maybe it's a
remember
rumor,
when
but
it got on it, when it
I'm
got.
thankful we're bringing it up today and laying those rumors to rest.
When it,
None of us are ready to shut that
when
sucker
it
down.
got going, I know Alan Bruder was really pushing to get it started.
Yep.
Back when he was the chairman.
It was Alan. Yeah, Alan Bruder. Yep.
Well,
Chris, you
anyway,
were around him.
that's what I wanted to say, Mr. Chairman. I'm very impressed with the folks that are working as friends of that center. They're doing their darndest, and I think we're gonna make it work.
Very good. Any other comments? Quiet. Correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
Other government officials.
Oh, I'm sorry. Other government officials. Val?
So I guess, I'm hoping we get together and meet about the health plan.
Yeah.
And get that on track, because we sat on 2 weeks that we can't get back, and things need to go on track.
Let us know, set that up.
I would echo those sentiments from Val. We were hoping that this year would be different than previous years, but with the new board, it's new for everybody and.
Really confusing.
Yeah, and as far as my office, I'm in the final steps of having the new website ready to go. And we should be closing with GovOS on any questions that are left out there, and I'll start working with the webmaster to get that in place. And we'll get marketing materials from Bell as well to get the word out about the new edition.
Chris? No. Sarah?
The only thing I have, I've got a ton of things I'm working on, but I have been struggling, and getting through to 1010 technology regarding a cybersecurity policy. I do have, Darren provided me with the contract between the county and 1010. But we're not making any strides forward into finding out how they're supporting the county from a cybersecurity standpoint and what we need to have in place. So, it's a pretty important topic right now, and I'm not sure how else to get this moving at this point, but I will keep trying.
They're not even responding to you?
Kind of related to that, Dave and I had a phone conversation, or a Teams meeting with BSNA talking about, the new vehicle system that they are rolling out, which is a cloud-based system. And it would protect us from ransomware. That was one of the, main points of it, which we should probably consider. I mean, it is gonna be more expensive than what we currently do with BSNA as far as, they didn't give us a quote yet because we've got to get them some information. But we would also, we won't need to get a new server because our server is ending, the lifespan is coming close. And we'd have to get a new server, but if we go cloud-based, we would not need a new server. So there would be.
Isn't BSNA kind of forcing that, everybody into that?
Well, it's not gonna be immediate. They're looking, because they said even if we were to sign a contract July 1, implementation wouldn't be for 15 months. So I mean, it's not immediate. But within 5 years, yeah, it's good, it's all gonna change. But there are some benefits to it, because he said that the people over on the west side of the state, those counties that had them ransomware and they were shut down,
In the
that
cloud,
wouldn't have happened if they had.
right, and the cloud-based, obviously it comes with its own risks too, but that's the conversation that we should be having with 1010.
Mhm.
They are our support based on the contract, but what support are they going to support our county if something should occur? And let's mitigate this and try to get things in place so we don't end up like Wexford County.
Mhm.
So this is a pretty serious topic on a number of levels for a number of different departments, and I'm not a cybersecurity expert at all. I know nothing about it, quite honestly, other than I'm very concerned from a county standpoint that at this point, what do we have in place?
You have the same problem with 1010. All of
Well, what I can say from on 1010,
not
mean,
responding to you.
I don't really have a lot of call them to, but I know that some things seem to, I know when I worked here before, it seemed like the response time was a lot quicker. Since I've returned
with
back
the
here,
old
it
one.
seems like, it seems, yeah.
I really
and
don't-
I know that they had some staff changeovers, but it's not the 1010 that I remembered when I was in this building, 3 years ago.
Well, they've gotten a lot bigger too. They're from here to Traverse City now, so their customer base is much, much larger. So I'm not sure, but I'll keep working on
Yeah,
it.
but they
and
should hire more
Just-
people.
Just so the commissioners know where we're at as far as this
It could be the
topic.
whole state as long as they got enough people to service everybody.
Right.
I guess we're gonna have to get a hold of them somehow. She's not even responding, getting a response from them.
That's it.
That's it for,
Sure, I have a question, Mr. Chairman, in talking about the insurance situation, how we have to move on that. Did we say that we're gonna meet, emergency meeting next week, possibly? The reason I bring it up, I'm gonna be gone all next week. If it's fine, you have the meeting, but I just won't be around.
we're gonna all wait. all
I'm
week.
gone Sunday to Sunday.
That's fine. Robin can make it, can
Yeah,
you?
all except
Make it.
Friday.
Yep.
I'll be here. That's fine.
Thank you.
And Thursday morning, I can't, Thursday afternoon, I can, Thursday morning. I'm sitting in the dentist chair.
No Thursday.
No Thursday morning.
Just Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, I'm good.
All right. Correspondence, do we have any? No. No correspondence.
Motion for payroll.
Payroll,
Make a motion.
for motions for the payroll. Excuse me, roll call vote.
Crook,
Yes.
Tellini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes. Motion to
More
adjourn.
business, no?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, support. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, motion carried, use agenda 11:06.
I wanted to tell you something. I watched one of my, something that was like a video. It was,
Who you want, Sarah?
Yeah, I did. Thank you. Everything they said in there is. Hundreds, thousands of years ago. It was much warmer than it is now.
What?
So it's, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They, that to me, the article goes back to 11. And it's just like,
And you know, they said